Hey everybody, it's Kenny K again with a blast to the past with from 1982. Next of Kin gets a 6.2. It's uh, directed by a guy named Tony Williams, and I'm actually giving it a 5. And I actually wanted to give it, yeah, it's not my cup of tea. It was a slasher, a fucking slasher movie, but it isn't. I mean, at the very end, the last 5 minutes, yes, it's a slasher movie. But the entire movie long, it looks like it's a supernatural movie. It, I don't know. It's a mm, slasher horror mystery movie, and it's an Australian movie, so I don't really know the actors. You got Linda, her boyfriend Barney, and Linda, her aunt dies and she inherits this old style, um, old folks home, and there's this one nurse that was basically keeping everything together when her aunt got sick, Connie, so she keeps her on board. Their residence doctor is called Dr. Barton, and she hears things and she sees things, and at some point she goes in one of the old folks' room and she finds a dead man, an old man, dead in the bathtub, and the doctor says it was a heart attack, and he just dropped. I mean, he floated to the bottom. It was a heart attack. And another guy who she likes, I think his name was Lance, who Linda likes, and she gets fond of him because he jokes around. He eventually gets sick, and then later on, he's dead. And also, again, Dr. Barnes says, "Oh, it was a heart attack." But before he dies, he says something in the line of, "Not died, not died." So, because of the old man in the bathtub, she says, "Are you sad that Mr. Something Something died?" Not died. Not died. He said he probably wanted to say he was killed. But before he can say something, there's Connie, uh, asks her to help her with something, and yeah. Um, okay, that's the gist of the story. So, spoiler alert, but first of all, if you want to see this movie, prepare to be. It's not a slasher movie, not at all. You've got a 5 minute slasher moment in the movie, and that's it. You don't have a lot of, not a big body count, and the gore. They do show some gore at the end. Um, those last 5 minutes, they do show all the biggest body count is at those last 5 minutes with gore. So this movie has a certain, there is a certain atmosphere because, like I said, is this old mansion, like old folks home, what you call it, pension, yeah. It's and it's dark. It's all dark wood, you know, wooden walls and dark floors and carpet, and it looks creepy. It looks like a haunted mansion, and it does look like a movie that's supernatural or something. She hears crawling and things like that, and then old people starting to die, and she eventually sees them flying in front of their in front of her bedroom window. And I was thinking, is this fucking Salem's Lot? Is the old guy nude, by the way, going to drain her blood or rape her and then drain her blood? Yeah, I'm not sure. Then it was a mishmash of. So the only good thing I can say is you got atmosphere in the movie. The acting wasn't that bad of Linda. Barney, that with the boyfriend, was weird. I don't know. He was always. I mean, he was always calling from like in the middle of fucking nowhere. It does. I think he doesn't have a car, and was calling from the middle of fucking nowhere. He has a beer can in his fucking hand, in this telephone booth. But you know, in the outbacks, you have these completely surrounded with nothing areas, and then he's in this like Linda goes to this barn, and it's full of these guys with beer cans in their hands, and they're like, "Hey!" And I don't know what the fuck they're doing. And then she gets him out, and you made a silly get out of me. I mean, it was what? Okay. So going to spoilers. Okay. At some point, she sees a friend of her driving by and driving away. She has this red uh, convertible, and she's driving away. Her friend named Carol. Now, she, like I said, she goes to get Barney, and she wants to investigate because she was in the house, and she hears Connie and Dr. Barton speaking about lying, and he can't keep this up. And Connie is saying, you must," and she knows there's some kind of conspiracy going on. So she goes get uh, Barney, and her friend Carol is gone. Like she was coming to visit. She knew she was coming to visit, but then she was gone. She just drove by. And then what happens is so Barney he says, "I'm going inside." No, no, you wait. I'm going to check the place out with his beer can. I mean, he's a fucking alcoholic, that's for sure. And she's sitting on the fountain, and suddenly the fountain becomes is spewing, instead of water, it's still spewing water, but red water. It's blood, and she finds her friend Carol mutilated in the fountain. She goes inside to get Barney, and she doesn't. And that's a creepy shot. Okay, you see, she doesn't hear Barney, but then she hears something shrieking, like tires, and then she sees out of the dark Barney coming, with his beer can still in his hand, tied up to a wheelchair, and he's fucked up in his face. I think they bludgeoned his face in, and then he flies. He bounces against something, but I mean he was tied up, or I'm not. He bounces out of it, or he bounces with the chair like that on top of Linda. So, and that was a creepy scene. It's pretty dark there. There are like these candlelight chandeliers, but and candles against the wall, and he's coming out of this dark room, and you see it reminded me as like Saw, that little puppet on the bicycle. I mean, that's how it reminded me when he's coming out of he's coming out the dark, and it was creepy. Then she goes to get she goes to her room to pack up things and get the fuck out of there. And then she finds Dr. Barton in her bathtub because she hears the water on, and he's completely fucked up, blood all over his fucking face. Like I said, there's Gordon. There's Gordon. And then Connie apparently is the killer together with, I'm guessing, her son. I'm not sure. I don't know what his name was. She probably said it, but I was so bored through the movie until this point. It's good, but then she's saying, now, I mean, she always wanted the home, but then the aunt took it from her, and she's angry, and that's why she wants to kill her. If she kills her, it goes to her, and then she has this knife. She goes after her, but Linda locks herself in the bathroom, and then you have this kind of creepy scene where she's looking through through the hole of the lock, and she says, "I can see you," and she takes this, I think, a comb, but with like this pointy needle end to it, and slammed right through her eyeball, and and she dies from that. She gets the hell out of there, but then like I said, the son, I'm guessing, or son or something, he then attacks her, but she kicks him in the balls and then knocks him out. She drives to the near her old work, which is a diner, but she asks if the the owner's in. No, but her son, the son's, he's gone for a moment. The son's there, but he's super funny. He says, "There's, we have to arm ourselves. Do you have a gun?" And then he comes back in this military attire with a shotgun, and he wants a shotgun. Not Linda. He wants the fucking shotgun. And he's building these domino blocks, and she's building it with him, so keeping him occupied so he doesn't get afraid. But that little boy doesn't get afraid. I mean, I think you probably could have sent him to Vietnam, and he would have fucked up 100 Viet Congs at least. This little guy. I mean, so at some point they hear this, they see the tiles, the domino tiles, shaking, and it falls, and then you see a van crashing through the window of the diner. It's the son, I'm guessing, and immediately by Dr. Barton, or at least he killed. I think he was killed by Dr. Barton, and then yeah, I mean, maybe the son did the rest, but I don't understand why he's in front of her window, hovering like the Salem's Lot vampire thing. All, I mean, completely nude. You don't want to see that, and then he's, ooh. I mean, okay. So the movie, I mean, 6.2. I got a feeling because it's maybe an Australian movie that they're lenient with it, but the acting was good. Barney was weird, holding his fucking beer can everywhere when he's calling. He's in that room. He's going on a hike with her. He's holding a fucking beer can. What the fuck? But he said he was an alcoholic. He said that and admitted that. Okay. Any case, next of kin. Yeah, give it a watch if you like the atmosphere. And at the end, you do get a payoff. You know, like I said, three people getting killed in nasty ways. Of course, two off screen, but you see the aftermath, and one on screen. Like I said, and you see the punctured eyeball, so you see some gore. Uh, and it ends with a bang. And the best actor, in my opinion, is the little kid with the shotgun. So that being said, ho ho ho, I got myself a fucking machine gun. See you later. Bye bye.